In the brutal world of boxing, where strength, heart, and discipline define true champions, there are moments so dark, so unjust, that they echo far beyond the ring. One such moment shattered the life of a young, promising fighter. This is the tragic and enraging story of Prichard Colón, a handsome, humble, and talented boxer whose dreams were stolen by a cowardly opponent and a referee who refused to see what was right in front of him. A story not just of loss, but of vengeance, resilience, and a sport forced to confront its own demons. Prichard Colón wasn't just a fighter. He was a rising star. Hailing from Puerto Rico, he was known not only for his skills in the ring, but for his warmth and charm outside of it.
I'm looking to be the main. I'm looking to be the guy in the division. I'm looking at the guy on the card. You know, I want to be the main event. Someday I'll be the main event on my own big cards. You know, the time will tell. When Al puts me and gives me the opportunity, I'll be on the top. Yeah.
But one fateful fight forever shattered this fighter's dreams.
Fateful night in October 2015. It was supposed to be just another fight on the way to greatness. Colón was matched up against Terrell Williams, an opponent who, on paper, posed a decent challenge, but nothing Prichard couldn't handle. As the first round began, Prichard showed why he was so highly regarded. Quick, clean, technical. But something dark began to brew beneath the surface. Early on, Williams landed a punch to the back of Prichard's head. Illegal, dangerous, and worst of all, ignored by the referee. Colón, confused and concerned, signaled to the official. He knew something wasn't right, but nothing was done. That moment would become a turning point in one of the most controversial fights in modern boxing history. From that first illegal strike, a pattern...
I mean, you know, in a fight, you can't tell the pain, the pressure, what?
Repeatedly targeting the back of Colón's head with rabbit punches. Blows outlawed for a reason. The back of the head houses the brainstem, the most delicate part of the skull, a single mistake that can cause irreversible damage. Williams didn't just make mistakes, he made calculated, deliberate choices, and the referee let it happen. Colón, despite the pain and disorientation, continued to fight like a warrior. He adjusted, landed clean combinations, and even seemed to pull ahead in the early rounds. But Williams kept digging into his dirty bag of tricks. He clinched and threw blind shots. He punched during breaks. And when Colón responded with a low blow in frustration, Williams sold it like a stage actor, falling dramatically to the canvas. This time, the referee acted, but not against Williams. No, instead he deducted 2 points from Colón, ignoring the months of pain being inflicted on the young fighter's skull. The stage was now fully set for injustice. With the referee on his side, Williams became more brazen. The punches to the back of the head were no longer subtle. They were vicious and deliberate. Colón's rhythm broke. His footwork wavered. He slowed, struggled to keep balance, and began showing signs of neurological damage. And yet, he fought on. Even when he could barely stand, he kept swinging. He kept hoping someone would do the right thing, but no one did. And then the final insult. In the confusion between rounds, Colón's corner mistakenly believed the fight was over and began removing his gloves. The referee, rather than showing understanding or concern for Colón's obvious condition, used it as an excuse to disqualify him. Williams was handed the win, but the real loss was yet to come. Shortly after the fight in the locker room, Colón collapsed. He vomited, his legs buckled. Doctors rushed to his side and immediately transferred him to the hospital. Emergency. Brain surgery followed. A massive hematoma had formed. Bleeding on the brain, a direct result of the repeated rabbit punches he endured. Colón slipped into a coma for 6 months. When he finally woke up, he was no longer the same. The vibrant, charming, talented boxer who once dreamed of being the main event could no longer walk, speak, or care for himself. He had been permanently disabled. His career was over. His life had changed in the most tragic way imaginable. The outcry in the boxing world was immediate. Fans.
There's Prichard Colón. Yep. Correct. This man ain't have no kids. Man, they don't understand, man. Y'all don't fucking understand what we go through, man.
No official consequence for the dirty tactics that had destroyed a young man's life. A lawsuit was filed, but for the Colón family, the damage had already been done. But karma, though often delayed, rarely forgets. In 2023, Puerto Rican fighter Thomas Dulorme stepped into the ring with Terrell Williams. It was more than a match. It was a reckoning. Dulorme wasn't just fighting for himself. He was fighting for a brother, for a fellow countryman, for Prichard Colón. From the opening bell, Dulorme made his intentions clear. He wasn't going to play games. He wasn't going to let Williams get away with anything. Every punch landed with power and purpose. Williams, perhaps sensing the judgment of the entire boxing world on his shoulders, tried to return to his old playbook. He tried the rat act again, but this time it didn't work. Dulorme was prepared. He protected the back of his head. He kept the pressure relentless. When Williams got dirty, Dulorme got fiercer. As the rounds wore on, Williams grew desperate, even landing a blatant headbutt that split Dulorme's skin. But the Puerto Rican wasn't backing down. Not now, not ever. In the final round, he landed a crushing left hook that sent Williams crashing to the canvas. The decision was unanimous. Dulorme had won. But more than that, he had avenged Colón. He had delivered a moment of justice that the sport had long denied. Terrell Williams hasn't fought since. Prichard Colón remains confined to a wheelchair, but he is still surrounded by love, strength, and support. His family continues to fight for awareness, safety, and reform in the sport that he once gave everything to. The rule banning
Es muy satisfactoria porque todo Puerto Rico estaba esperando esta pelea por lo que pasó con Prichard Colón, el accidente que pasó con Prichard Colón, que yo estuviera dentro de esta pelea para ganar esta pelea por Prichard Colón.
Wrapped in discipline. But what happened to Prichard Colón was not boxing. It was negligence, cruelty, and betrayal of everything the sport is supposed to stand for. And yet even in...
You know, I was always sending prayers and for Prichard Colón. I could never imagine being in that moment.
Just scorecards. As it turned out later, Colón
his spirit remains unbroken, and for that he will always be a champion.